Was the 560 SL the ultimate two-seat Mercedes convertible? Was it or was it not? I don't know. We're going to try to answer this today. I mean, the real answer is that the second gen 500 SL is a closer representation of what I thought the ultimate Mercedes convertible would be. We're not talking about the most collectible. We're not talking about the most desirable or valuable. We're talking about which car got it 100% right. Like, where there's almost nothing left to be desired except a little bit more leg room, which we all know is true on the 107. And when I thought about this, somebody actually asked me this, and I thought about this, I reeled off 5 or 6 reasons why it always goes back to the 560 SL. Number one, no matter where your budget is, you can find a car that works for you. There are 560 SLs out there for $8,000 or $9,000. They're going to need a lot of work. You might be like Matt Brown, who's one of my subscribers, and had to buy a 560 that needed a bunch of work, pull the engine and do the heads, but you still got a 560 SL out of the deal, and you were willing to do a lot of the heavy-duty work yourself. Or, you could be in the market for an ultra-low mileage 560 SL, and you end up with a $70,000, $80,000, 4,000 mile car, and it's out there. Now, one of the reasons that I love the 560 is because it delivers some great driving attributes and reliability attributes, but it does not it's not overly complicated or over-engineered. And this is why I tell people your idea of whether or not you should buy a 560 is not a bad one, because you're going to get a recognizable car. My friend Manny, who takes his 560 to Chick-fil-A sometimes to get a snack, always tells me people are highly complimentary of the car. So the car is iconic and recognizable. Number two, it's reliable. I mean, you can pretty much hedge your bet that these cars are always going to run if they have a good battery, a good fuel pump relay, and a good crankshaft position sensor. Maybe you might have a fuel pump problem if your tank is rusty and the car's been sitting around. But even if the fuel pump starts to leak a little bit, car's still going to run. Even if the KE control unit dies, car's still going to run. Even if you put terrible gas in it, it's still going to run. It's always going to run. The only 2 things that can go wrong with this car are the ones I listed. Number 3, availability of parts. Not saying it's cheap, but it's cheaper to fix a 560 than it is a 280. Or, of course, a 300 or a 230. And in some cases, even a 129. Not overly complicated either in terms of its equipment level. It's got a manual top. It doesn't have ASR. It doesn't have a complicated ABS system. It doesn't have 4-wheel hydraulic suspension like a 600 SL. It doesn't have a climate control issue that manifests with a messed up digital screen or an instrument cluster that has a mind of its own. The cars do everything so well that they're really hard to fault. Again, for bigger drivers like me, it's tight, but with a good expansion valve, dryer, and AC compressor, the AC works great. When you fix the defrost actuator and spend about 2 hours doing that, you get great air distribution. The seats are comfortable. I mean, even as much as I rag about the car's lack of leg and shoulder room, even me, myself, and I have found the 560 to be comfortable enough to drive for hours at a time. I might have to roll out of one when I get out of one, but still. Let's look at the performance aspect and the fuel economy aspect. A really good 560 gets about 16 miles per gallon. A really good 380 SL gets a couple miles per gallon more. A really good 280 SL with the differential upgrade gets about 16 to 18 miles per gallon, so right in there. A bad 560 will net about 13 or 12. An average 560, 14 and a half, 15. Driving and all kinds of driving. I'm not saying these are great numbers, especially if you're running premium gas or ethanol-free 89 or 90 octane. But they're comparable to other Mercedes. The R129s did get better fuel economy. But if you're driving this kind of car, it's like, you know, I mean, you can spend hours setting everything up on a 560, and if you go 70 miles an hour or 75 miles an hour, and you keep the fuel mixture adjusted and clean, and your engine's running optimally, and you don't abuse the car or whatever, you might get 18 miles per gallon out of it. You know, that's not too terrible, is it? But when you look at cars like the 280, 250, 230, which are probably more attractive, those cars are wound up at 70 miles an hour unless you do a differential upgrade, and that's $7,000 or $8,000 or more sometimes. They have the go up to about 70, 75, and then they start getting really loud and noisy unless you love your engine revving at 5,000 RPM. It's not really an ideal scenario. Whereas the 560 will do 80, 85, 90 miles an hour at 3,000-ish RPMs. You don't even hit 3,250 RPMs in a 560 SL until about 90 miles an hour. On a 280 SL, you hit 3,250 RPMs at 60 miles an hour. Granted, the M130 is a very free revving, light, happy 6-cylinder engine, but Mercedes geared it way too low. The 560 had perfect gearing. It's like, you can't even tell the car's running. You just want to do 85, 90 all day in a 560, and you'll still get 14 miles per gallon even at those high speeds. And then the affordability and the durability of the bodies. They rarely need rust repair if you don't let the car turn into a canoe. They're just overall very tough cars. And I have a lot of customers who have both, you know. So this is something, you know, that I thought was special that I could leave you guys with about the 560 SL, or thinking about buying one or own one, or worried about how much money you've put into one. They're just really great cars. And I still think that Mercedes got the formula perfect. They perfected their 2-seat convertible formula with the 560. If somebody calls me and says, I want a 560 SL, I will never talk them out of it. And as far as gas cars go, in the hierarchy of gasoline cars, they're pretty much up there. They're tops. They're among the most reliable Mercedes ever built. They will even compare favorably with a 6-cylinder diesel. In some cases, even outdo a 6-cylinder diesel. So I hope you guys loved this video. If you own a 560, great. Push the like button and the subscribe button. We'll see you in the next video. Take care.